Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm a writer and an author. I'm a dreamer and a creator. I'm a spiritual advisor. I'm also a corporate consultant and trainer. I'm a daughter. I'm a sibling. I'm a mother. I'm a mother-in-law. I'm a grandmother. I'm a partner. I'm a friend. There may be a few other roles that I inhabit that I could name. Cat mom being another one, neighbor. And one of the reasons I name all of these roles is because lately I've been thinking a lot about identity. And I've been thinking about identity from this perspective of how do we know who we are? Like, who are we really? And what does that mean for us in our life's journey? Took me down the path of thinking about what's underneath all of this, what's underneath all of the roles, what's underneath all of the skills and the beliefs and the personality traits, which takes me back to core essence. And when I wrote my memoir more than a decade ago now, it's called Embracing the Stranger in Me, A Journey to Open-Heartedness, because once I found out I was adopted when I was in my mid 40s and hadn't known that, I realized that there's the potential that there's so much about ourselves that we don't even know. And I also realized and recognized that and I think most of us, don't want to be defined simply by our roles. Although our roles are also indicators of our identity or who we are. And when I think about roles, some roles we just fall into. We are a child of someone's parents, of some parents. I mean, we are a child of our parents. We may be a sibling. That has nothing to do with our choices, but the choices of other people. And I think that there are some roles that we step into willingly, and some roles that get assigned to us, and some roles that we're forced into, whether we want to be or not, and whether we're consciously aware of being forced into it or not. I'm a peacemaker and a caregiver, and these are roles that I took on out of my own sense of necessity because they were needed in the situations that I was in. Didn't consciously take them on, but I am now consciously aware of them and how they contribute to my own sense of identity. And I think sometimes that there are roles that we take on that served us really well at some point in our lives, but may no longer serve us anymore. And I don't know how often we shed roles. Having been married and divorced twice, I recognize different roles that I would have assumed within those relationships and how those relationships contribute to my sense of identity and sense of defining me. And in fact, one of my most significant journeys was a journey to understand, particularly towards the end of my second marriage, like who I was really, because I was lost. My sense of identity was obscured through the challenges in the relationship at the time. And trying to disentangle what aspects of the challenges that I were dealing with were mine and what challenges were somebody else's. Because I took them all on as an empath and a highly sensitive person, and as someone who was bred into being accountable. I took it all on and I needed to understand sort of where I began and ended and where someone else began and ended and what I really wanted to allow into my life. And during that time, that was also when I found out that I was adopted. There was an invitation to really think about what are the roles and what is the identity I wanted to inhabit, and what are the roles that I wanted or needed to shed in order to be more fully who I was meant to be and how I wanted to walk in this world. So, this is part of an invitation to you also, if you're watching this video, is what are your roles? What are the roles that you've taken on willingly? What are the roles that have been forced on you? What are the roles that are reflective of your core essence, your identity? And what are the roles that you want to shed or need to shed in order to be more fully who you are? And in all of this, I think a little bit about boundaries. And one essential part of a boundary for me is this notion of, what do I take on and what do I let go? What is mine to do and what is someone else's to take care of for their own journey, their own life, their own development? Not always an easy discernment, but the stronger our sense of who we are, the more our ability to do that, the more we strengthen and empower ourselves to walk the path that calls us. I have created a guided visualization for you to access that invites you to reflect on your timeline, your sense of identity from perhaps even before birth to this moment, to reflect on what they've all contributed to who you are now, what you want to embrace, what you want to shed, so you can walk more fully in your path and be more of who you were meant to be, who you are becoming, and who you are. Your essence, your core essence, your soul essence, the identity that you choose to inhabit. Curious to hear your experiences. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.